3 days. That's all it took. 3 days and you're already checking if they texted back, planning what you'll do next weekend, imagining what their friends think of you. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a voice whispers, "Why do I always do this?" Here's what most people get wrong. They think getting attached fast means you're desperate, needy, broken. But psychology says something completely different. And when you understand what's actually happening in your brain, everything about this pattern starts to make sense. Your brain isn't malfunctioning. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do. And by the end of this video, you'll know why. Let me tell you what's really happening. When you meet someone who feels safe, your nervous system doesn't see a person, it sees a solution. A solution to something that's been quietly running in the background of your life for years. This is attachment priming, and it starts way earlier than you think. If you grew up in an environment where love felt unpredictable, where you had to earn attention, where connection came and went without warning, your brain learned a survival strategy. Lock onto connection the moment it appears. Because when you're young and love feels scarce, waiting isn't an option. Fast forward 20 years, you're an adult now. But that response? It's still running. So when someone shows up and feels even remotely safe, your system floods with urgency. The same urgency a 5-year-old feels when a parent finally pays attention. Your brain doesn't know the difference between healthy attachment and anxious attachment. It just knows this feels important. Don't let it go. And here's where it gets interesting. Those first few days with someone new, they're electric. You feel alive, focused, like everything finally makes sense. That's not just emotion, that's neurochemistry. Your brain is literally rewarding you for finding something it perceives as valuable. Dopamine surges every time they text, every time they laugh at your joke, every time you picture being with them. But here's what most people miss. Fast attachment isn't always about the other person. Sometimes it's about escaping yourself. Think about it. When you're completely focused on someone else, you're not thinking about your own stress, your own fears, your own unresolved feelings. Attachment becomes emotional outsourcing. You stop carrying your own weight because now you have someone else to think about. And for a while, that feels like relief. This is the part nobody talks about. What you're calling attachment might actually be avoidance. Avoidance of boredom. Avoidance of loneliness. Avoidance of the question, who am I when no one's watching? Falling fast for someone gives you an identity. You become the person who's dating them, texting them, planning around them. And that identity feels safer than sitting with the unknown version of yourself. It also gives you something to control. You can't control your job. You can't control your family. You can't control what happens tomorrow. But you can control how much you text someone, how available you are, how much effort you put in. Fast attachment creates a project, and projects feel manageable. They feel like progress, even when they're not. But here's where this pattern changes. And when you're younger, getting attached fast feels exciting. It feels like proof that you're capable of deep feeling. But as you get older, the same behavior starts to feel different. Not because the attachment itself has changed, but because you've started to notice the pattern. You've seen what happens after the rush fades. You've watched yourself do this before. And now, when it happens again, there's a quieter voice underneath asking, is this real? Or is this just my brain doing what it always does? And that's the identity shift. You're not a different person. You're just watching yourself with more awareness. And that awareness doesn't make the attachment go away. It just makes you more conscious that you're doing it again, which can feel lonely in a different way. Because now you're not just attached. You're attached and aware that you're doing it again. But here's what most people miss about this entire pattern. Getting attached quickly isn't a flaw. It's a regulation strategy. When life feels chaotic or empty or overwhelming, attachment gives your nervous system something to organize around. It's an anchor, a rhythm, a place your brain can return to when everything else feels scattered. Think of it like walking into a room full of strangers. Your brain scans for something recognizable. A face, a voice, a vibe, and when it finds it, you relax. Attachment works the same way. It's your brain finding a landmark in emotional terrain that otherwise feels too open, too uncertain. The attachment isn't the problem. It's the solution your system came up with a long time ago. And it still works, even when it doesn't feel good anymore. So if you get attached too fast, it doesn't mean you're desperate. It doesn't mean you're needy. It doesn't mean you're broken. It means your brain is trying to create safety in the only way it learned how. It means you're human. And it means that somewhere along the way, You learned that closeness, even fast closeness, felt better than nothing at all. That's not a character flaw, that's survival. And your brain, it's still doing its job, and you don't need to fix this. You just need to see it for what it is: a pattern, a protection, a part of how you move through the world. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough.